Hi guys, welcome back. Today's YouTuber that we're going to visit is I'm Kelly Jones. And the name of her video, Starting My Weight Loss Journey. Again, I hope you guys enjoy.
I have a doctor working with me and a therapist working with me with my weight gain. And so, anyway, here we go. So, I know I have gained a good bit of weight, but I have not weighed in the last month. I'm so nervous. I'm so ready to conquer this. I'm so ready to get a handle on this and not have weight issues anymore. I mean, I always want to try to look at the positive. And so, I mean, I am glad that I'm working on it and my health seems to be pretty good. And okay, I always thought I was really strong though. Like, I don't know, I guess I'm learning that this is more than just having a strong willpower and disposition, because I know
So real quick, in case you're just joining us, she was 280 pounds. She lost about 100 pounds, but as of the taping of this particular video, she's gained most of that back. So she's kind of having that inner demon argument with herself.
those things, but I grew up athletic and small, and so a part of me feels weak, like I should have more control over myself. So a month and a half ago, I was just saying that I couldn't believe how much weight I had gained. I'm a statistic. I'm just somebody who loses and gains, and I gained even more, like a lot more. This may be the heaviest I've ever been. I'm feeling so embarrassed. I know I've said that. How embarrassed can you feel until you have the power to do something about it? Well, okay, so I'm learning that if I have these primal instincts to keep myself safe and my need for chemicals to feel safe, is if those are there, then that is going to outweigh any kind of willpower and power I think I have over myself. And I tell you, it is true. I mean, like, there's this part of me that is still like, oh God, Kelly, don't you have any control of yourself anymore? Are you really this weak? But it's not about that, I don't think. I think it's more about, this is what I'm doing to feel safe. I mean, it feels safe to have fat around me. It feels like a shield and an armor. And like, I heard this plastic surgeon say on YouTube one time, and I really liked him, but I never liked how callous and shallow this was. He helped people who were overweight. Like, I guess he did gastric bypass. I don't really know what he was. So I guess it wasn't a plastic surgeon, but I knew he helped people who were overweight. And he said one of the biggest things that he thought was just them lying to themselves is that they would say that they wanted to be heavy so that nobody would notice them. And then he made this, it was like a tacky, like example. He was like, okay, so you're so fat that you sit in a chair and it breaks, and that's not going to draw any attention to you. And he's like, that's just, you're lying to yourselves. That's just an excuse. And I was just like, that is so, I don't know.
That is really a tough thing to hear. Sometimes people hear these things and you could totally see how it kind of messes with them and stuff. I'm sorry she's going through this situation. I want to reach out to her and see if I can get her to walk with us.
I tried not to judge him, but I have not been able to watch him since then because that was so tacky. Because that isn't, first of all, I have never sat in a chair and it break. And that, he doesn't get it. And what he doesn't understand is it's not even about that kind of attention. I mean, mainly what it is like, I know that people say that everybody likes everyone of every shape and size, but in my experience, I get looked at a lot less when I'm heavy. And that, maybe it's just that I don't look as good. I don't know. But I mean, it seems like every time someone checks me out, I gained 30 pounds. Like, I don't want to be noticed in that way, I guess. And I was wondering if that may be what other people are saying. I don't know. That was just so tacky of him to say that like that. So, like, zero compassion towards his patients, the people who give him an income. I don't know. So, anyway, but I think that there's something deep down, like, even though on the surface of our brains that doesn't even make sense, like, there's something deep down that part of us that will do whatever it has to do to keep us safe, that kind of will take over. It's like a primal part of us that willpower, it doesn't even exist against it, you know? And until you figure out how to feel safe and to feel better and to increase those happy chemicals without food, it's just going to be really, really hard to lose weight, I think. And it has nothing to do with being, like, I mean, I guess, it does seem like, yes, I am scared of certain things. That's what I'm doing. But we all have things that we try to protect ourselves against. It doesn't matter how strong you are. Um, we're all trying to keep ourselves safe. So it comes from that. It's more of that than just walking around like the scared of the world, kind of thing. Which,
She brought up an interesting little tidbit there about like she's worried about these foods do give her like a dopamine rush, right? They give her these pleasure chemicals. And she's kind of wondering what her life's going to be like, when she kind of steps away from that. And that's kind of a challenging thing to deal with. I wanted you guys to kind of hear that when you're having these little debates and talks in your brain, she's dealing with the same thing. I think we all have done that. So I want people to know that once again, you're not alone. There's a lot of people that are dealing with these issues, and it really can affect you. And when you're rude to people, it can really ruin their day and their week and really potentially their year as well. So try to be kind if you have it in you.
I kind of seem that way because I also basically have agoraphobia. But I still think that there's a part of me that's really strong because, for one, I am wanting to fix this. I am determined to fix this. And I just want to have compassion with myself instead of beating myself up like I normally do. Like, why can't you get a handle on yourself? Instead, it's, no, this is what I'm doing to feel safe until I figure out how to feel safe in other ways. I isolate and hide in my home, and just extra measure I put fat on myself for when I do go out. Oh, Lordy day. So anyway, I'm about to be to the doctor, so I guess I'll stop for now and let y'all know how it goes when I get there.
Did I hear her right? She isolates in her home, right? So she's not going out. And then when she does go out, she likes to get that extra weight on so she can kind of still be isolated from people. That I haven't heard that before. That is really something. What are your thoughts on that? Let me know in the comments.
So they said I had a 13% increase in the last 6 weeks. I weigh 268. Okay, I'm waiting for my nurse practitioner to get in here. She's my primary care physician. Oh boy. The nurse was so cool though. She said, "This is the year that we take it all back. We take our power back and we conquer this stuff." I love it. I love it.
Do you guys see how the nurse's comments made her day, right? Whereas her doctor's comments made her week miserable? That just blows my mind that somebody would say that because again, now we guessed right. She's 268 pounds. She wasn't going to be breaking anyone's chair. Anyway, these things get me angry, but you know what? Once again, we found somebody else that we can totally root for. Please check out I'm Kelly Jones. That's the name of her channel. I'll link it in our description here. And subscribe to her channel. Give her a thumbs up. She hasn't been doing YouTube for a while, so maybe we can let her know in the comments that we want her to come back and share her progress with us. Speaking of progress, guys, we've got 1 week left until we go into another 90-day challenge. If you're new, please consider walking with us. If you want to walk with us today, go get your shoes. Let's go for a walk. Good morning, Venters. Oh my God, guys, it's already 87 degrees. Thankfully, there's a little patch of clouds that the sun is behind. Hopefully those clouds will stay there for 5 or 10 minutes. Guys, I had a breakthrough today, another victory off scale. What do you mean, Jesse? What happened? Well, Bob, believe it or not, I can fit into my waist size 33 shorts. I have a pair of shorts that are waist size 33. I can fit into them, which leads me to believe I can probably fit back into my waist size 32. So your boy went from a 38 to a 32 waist, or 33 waist for definite, in just a few short, like 10 weeks. In just a few short months, I went from a waist size 38 to a waist size 32. Bob, I'm losing inches like crazy. Jesse, that's what she said. Bob, enough. Enough. This world is not big enough for me, and that's what she said jokes. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Oh, sun, stay behind the clouds like a good son. Oh my God, I can already smell what smells like somebody barbecuing. I guess the best time to barbecue this time of year is 7 in the morning. God, guys, can you believe it? I can finally fit into all of my shorts. Guys, really take advantage of your off-scale victories. We are in the final week. It's the power week. How close to 30 pounds can the Jessinator come? Oh shit, guys, look at this. Somebody set the recyclable on fire. Well, that's not good, is it? Holy moly. I would call the fire department, but it's pretty much not on fire anymore. Wow, that's bizarre. That almost looks like, I don't know if you guys remember this, but when I was a little boy, they would tell us that if you put a bunch of oily rags into like a coffee can and put the lid on, that it could hit spontaneous combustion and actually catch on fire. That's kind of what that reminds me of. Guys, I've lived on this earth for 47 and a half years, and I've never in my life seen a little mini dumpster on fire before. I'm sure it happens everywhere all the time, but that was the first one I've ever seen. And if it's the first one you've ever seen, we've seen something together. Yay! God, I'm excited, guys. It's not often that I get to fit into my old clothes again. See, I didn't have to throw those clothes away. If you've gained 30 or 40 pounds, you don't have to throw away those gorgeous clothes and beautiful dresses that you have and those jeans from high school. You don't have to throw those away just yet. What you have to do is you have to get your walking shoes and you have to say, I'm gonna walk right back into those jeans. I'm gonna walk right back into that wedding dress, right? Some of us have that wedding dress in the closet. Not me, I got rid of my wedding dress long ago, but some of you might have your wedding dress still in your closet. And then what you want to do is you like to bust it out every now and again to see if you still fit in it. Well, you never know. You might be fitting in that again. Yank that thing out. Okay, maybe not yet, maybe wait a couple more weeks. But either way, maybe that would be a perfect litmus test for a lot of us. We'll all come over and check out your wedding dress and see if we fit in it. That would be fun.
So these shorts that I fit in, I literally couldn't fit into them 3 weeks ago. So I know that just during the last 3 weeks, I've kind of taken it to another level. So over the last 3 weeks, I started really focusing on getting in that second and third walk. Started really focusing on keeping my push-ups and sit-ups. Also started really implementing that 7:30 rule. And the 7:30 rule has been a little challenging for me. Out of like the 3 weeks that we've been on it, I've probably cheated on it 5 or 6 times. But again, that's 5 or 6 times out of 21 days. So what that means, I still had a good 15 days where I didn't snack. I bought this popcorn called Skinny Pop. I went from tortilla chips and potato chips to this Skinny Pop. I thought it was a baby step. What I didn't realize is how yummy the Skinny Pop is. And sometimes I find myself at 8 or 8:30, sometimes even 9, grabbing for the Skinny Pop. And the Skinny Pop says you can eat a cup full of it, and it's like 43 calories, right? And again, I'm not a big calorie counter, but I just like to tell this to people. So in theory, you can have a cup of popcorn here and a cup of popcorn there. The problem is, I start thinking I'm at the movies, and I start grabbing a handful here and a second handful there, and before you know it, I've got a lot of popcorn in my gut. So, would I recommend Skinny Pop? Definitely. Would I recommend you don't eat it too much? Definitely. It is yummy. You gotta stay away from that Skinny Pop. And to the makers of Skinny Pop, you can't eat just one handful. I'm going to visit my daughter and granddaughter today. That's always fun. Gonna go visit them for breakfast, so I'll be going there right after this walk. And then after that breakfast, I'll be going probably to Planet Fitness, believe it or not, to get in my second walk. And then throughout the day, I'll do 15 or 16 push-ups there, 17, 18 push-ups there. I might even do some leg lunges. And that's basically what I do as far as an exercise routine. And then when I'm watching, the game at night, or if I'm watching TV at night, it is not uncommon for me to grab my 8 or 10 pound dumbbells, one in each hand, and just do some arm exercises with the dumbbells. If you have smaller dumbbells, maybe where they weigh 1 or 2 or 3 pounds, put them in your hands and then box the air for a couple minutes. And even if you just do that for 2 or 3 minutes a night, you will really start to tone up those arms. It's interesting with the guys, we have a lot of weight in our gut that we can't stand, or at least I can't, right? With women, you guys tend to get the big arms that you're not really fond of, where you get the jiggle. So who knows, maybe if you do box the air with the smaller weights, and even if you have ankle weights, you can always put them on your wrist, right? And just box the air for 2 or 3 minutes a night, just punching little punches out in the air. And what you'll notice is that it's really quite a workout, and it really will shape and tone your arms. When I first started this plan about 80 some odd days ago, that was the one thing that got me, is every shirt felt like I was strangling myself because I had medium shirts, right? And to go with my medium shirts, I had this bulging, puffy body. So I could fit into everything as far as my shirts were concerned, but it looked like I was wearing, my younger brother's shirt, which is challenging to do because I don't have any brothers, So that's one thing I probably wish. I wish my mom and dad would have maybe had a older brother for me, or even a younger brother at this point, But at the same time, those things happen. One of the commenters yesterday was saying, I wish I had grandbabies, but my kids don't seem to have any interest in having grandbabies. I feel for you, because as well as I do, as you get older and as your kids get older, you would love to be able to have big family outings or even small family outings. And if your family tree stops growing, there's going to be an issue there. You might not notice that in your 40s, 50s, and 60s. But when you get up there in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, you start to notice, holy crap, I wish I had a family tree. My mom visited a family member that we have in Mexico that just celebrated her 100th birthday. I'm not very familiar with this particular family member. And apparently, when she went down there, apparently this woman's got like 48 grandchildren, 9 or 10 children. I say this woman, she's like a loose cousin of mine, but still, that is amazing. So yeah, I have a cousin that made it to 100. On my mom's side, a lot of the brothers and sisters of my grandma have all made it into their 90s, pushing 100 years of age. So with my 4 grandparents, guys, one of my 4 grandparents has that magical DNA where they naturally last to be like 90, 95 years old. That's my grandmother's line. My grandpa on my mom's side lived to be, I think, 80-ish, like 83 or 84, but I'm not exactly sure, right? Then, on my dad's side, my grandma Patty, I believe she lived to be, I'm just guessing, in her 70s or maybe late 60s, maybe mid 70s. And then my grandpa, I believe he lived to be in his 70s, maybe touching his 80s as well. So with my 4 lines, my 4 grandparents, I think I have a natural inclination to make it to around my 70s or 80s. If I can get lucky and be a part of my grandmother's line when it comes to age and longevity, I might be able to make it to age 95 or 100. Now, what's interesting about that is I don't necessarily want to live to be 100, but if you do live to be 100, you know what that means? It means that when you're middle-aged, you're not quite as old as the other middle-aged people. Think about this. This is huge. Some of us, we hit 50, 60 years old, and we might as well be 70, right? We really start to become elderly. Some of us, when we're 40, 50, 60 years old, we still feel and act kind of young and youthful. I'm hoping that that's the way I can be. And honestly, to be honest with you, I'm 47, but I still feel like I have a young person's energy and a younger person's just enjoyment of, laughing and, having fun. So I don't know, that's an interesting question that I'd like to bring up to you guys. How old do you guys feel? Do you guys feel, do you feel your age? Do you feel a couple years younger? Do you feel a couple years older? If you're walking and drinking water and avoiding sugar, have you noticed any side effects with regards to how you feel? Do you feel better about it? All right, guys, if you guys want to come down to Arizona, here's a nice little couch for you to consider. When I was younger, in my early 20s, where your couch might be a futon or something crazy, right? When I was younger, I would have called my friends, gotten a pickup truck, and yanked that couch right out. I wouldn't have thought about things like bugs or, could you imagine if you bring something with bed bugs home? So whenever you buy something that's used or, like beds and stuff, God, you got to be super careful, because if you ever bring something gnarly to your house, oh my God, those particular bugs, the bed bugs, those things are so evil, I don't even like talking about them. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had a bad experience with bed bugs, and if you haven't, you don't want to. So again, if you like going to yard sales, or if you see a couch or something on the side of the road, don't always be excited to grab those things. My thinking is there's always a reason that somebody is getting rid of their stuff, and it's not always just because they had an upgrade in life. When you buy a used car from people, they'll make it sound like there's absolutely nothing wrong with the car. They're just doing an upgrade because they have another car now, right? And then you get in the car and you realize, oh my God, this is a lemon. People will sell you stuff that they wouldn't take for free themselves. So be careful, be leery. But at the same time, every now and then, you might find a neighbor that actually did upgrade their couch and they have a nice couch for you. I wouldn't necessarily buy used mattresses, but if you know the person, it's a family relative or something, and they tell you honestly, hey, nothing gross has happened on this bed, then you might be able to take the little bed mattress and stuff. But again, be careful. I think we all have stories of that, right? My ex-sister-in-law, when she, this is a funny story with a pro NBA player. She had a roommate in college in her dorm, you know, a forced roommate, not somebody that you choose, somebody you're just kind of stuck with, right? And she liked the roommate, but the roommate started dating former NBA basketball player Gilbert Arenas. And this is when Gilbert went to the U of A. This was way back, I think in the late 90s, early 2000s. But anyway, check this out. She came home one day, and instead of her roommate with Gilbert on her bed, they were on my sister-in-law's bed doing their thing. And she said she felt really disgusted and grossed out about it, you know, and at the time she was only like 18 years old or whatever, so she didn't really know how to handle it. So I just remember her mom, because we all got together for like a family outing, and she was like, yeah, you know, you should do A, B, and C, and I didn't know how to handle it. I was in my early 20s then too, but I was just like, holy shit, he's gonna play in the NBA someday. You know, get a black light so you can see the stains and take a picture. That might be worth something someday. And Gilbert Arenas is a pretty popular basketball player. I think he retired about, I don't know, maybe 5-10 years ago, but he is still pretty well known and adored here in Arizona. He's one of the good guys, other than what you did to my former sister-in-law's bed, Gilbert. Bad, bad Gilbert. You know, it's funny when it comes to those type of things with young people doing things. I remember when I was in my 20s, I did some things that probably weren't the neatest for friends to find out, but never did anything like that in their beds or anything. Actually, I take that statement back. I don't think I ever did anything gross to anybody like that. But if I would have, especially when you're in your 20s, I don't know if I would have seen it as gross, you know? Hey, I was with a girl. We missed my bed and we accidentally went on yours. What? Oh my goodness. And although we want young women and young men to make good decisions and ideally wait till they're married, heck, ladies, you have a chance to have babies with an NBA basketball player. I might consider it if I was a girl, you know? Some of you guys are rolling your eyes. I only say that because what are the odds that you're going to find somebody with that type of talent, you know? Oh my goodness, you got to be born with that type of talent. That's the one thing about basketball that's a little bit disheartening if you love sports. You know, you can train how to dribble and you can train how to shoot and how to pass and play defense all you want. But the reality is, the hell is that? But the reality is, you know, you can't really teach 6'5". You can't really teach 7'2". And, you know, some of us are blessed with just naturally being north of 6 foot tall. And obviously I'm talking about predominantly men. But even in women's basketball, we're starting to get a handful of girls that are legit 7 foot women. One of our basketball players here for the Phoenix Mercury is Brittany Griner. And I think she's either 6'11" or 7 foot, or she might even be an inch or two taller than that. She was the one that, I don't know if you guys remember, but she was stuck in a Russian jail for a year or so because she had snuck, you know, one of those little cartridges of marijuana cartridge in her bags. God, that must have been a scary day. The day that the Russians stopped her at the airport and put the cuffs on her, that must have been just scary as heck. I've seen some videos online of Russian jails and Russian prisons, and man, they don't seem fun at all. Not that American prisons seem any fun, but the Russian jails, they have you out there in the snow doing hard manual labor for 15 hours out of a 24-hour day. That doesn't sound fun at all. And then when you're inside the jail, you're celled up with legit murderers and stuff. They've got some hardcore people out in Russia. No doubt about it. I wonder how much we hear about Russia is propaganda, though. Because if you're my age, which a lot of us are, we've been hearing about the horrible evils of Russia forever. But you want to know something? As I get older, I start to see the evils of our own country, and not just on a government level, but just the people. You know, even though there's 330 million people, and the media could show you something bad every day, right? And you have to remember that out of 330 million people, you're always going to have some bad stuff that's caught on a camera somewhere. The problem is, it happens. I really wish we would live in a world where we would stomp that out. But remember, once again, if you get disillusioned and angry by seeing crime that they have on videotape on the news all the time, try to remember that out of that many million people in this country, there's always going to be a murder somewhere. There's always going to be an assault caught on camera somewhere, and there's always going to be something evil somewhere. You know, I assume every day in this country and across this world, I assume there are thousands of little kids that get abducted. There are thousands of men and women that are abused in a physical manner, right? And there are thousands of bad things that happen behind closed doors that nobody ever hears about, you know? So it's important that when bad things happen and we do catch them on camera, that they make the news, right? So that we're aware of those things. But remember, sometimes the news can be poisonous to your soul. Sometimes it's best just to go outside knowing that bad things happen, but you don't have to see it all the time. You know, one of the things where I've changed over the last 5 or 10 years is if I see a video and I know in this video they're going to show a woman getting beat up like a man gets beaten up sometimes, right? Those are videos that I choose not to see. If they're showing a video of somebody getting killed or, you know, getting hit by a car or something, you know, I don't need to see that. Do I know that happens? Yes. Have I seen it before? Yes. And what I would really urge you guys to think about, because maybe you're the type like I used to be, where every time there is a negative highlight on the news, you go out of your way to, hey, let me see that, hit rewind, pause that, I want to see that, right? You know, that might be something that if you stop doing, if you stop insisting on seeing that stuff, it might be really, really good for you. One of my ex-girlfriends, we'll call her Lisa, because that's what I called her when I wasn't pissed at her. She used to like to watch videos of dogs in China. In China, they eat the yellow dog. At least some of them do. And she would watch videos of them with all these yellow dogs. Yellow dogs, they just look like yellow labs, right? I don't know if they are Labradors, but they're yellow dogs. And she would watch videos of them capturing these dogs, keeping them, like 5 or 6 of them in cages, you know, where they literally can't move. And then they take a dog out and they just literally start taking off its fur and cutting it and de-skinning it and stuff. And they do it while it's alive. It's a really tough thing to watch for Americans because we don't eat dogs. Dogs are man's best friend. And believe it or not, in China, a lot of people love dogs, but they see the yellow dog as a food source. I don't like it either. But it is what it is, and if you have billions of people and they've been eating the yellow dog as a food source, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, right? And remember, in Peru, they eat guinea pigs. So, sometimes people eat certain animals in their culture that we might not agree with, we might even detest. But it doesn't mean that you have to look at it. And she used to look at these videos, and she would get to the point where she had tears coming down her eyes. And it's like, look, it's one thing if you want to watch a sad movie and commiserate about something. It's another thing if you're watching torture and commiserating with it. Don't watch stuff that is going to poison you. Guys, those clouds did me so nice. Today it's going to be up to like 110 degrees again, which it's been the last couple. Did you guys know 2 days ago it was 113 here in certain parts of Phoenix? Holy moly. 113. It went from 101s to 113. Holy moly. But you want to know something? When you're inside in front of the air condition, it's not that bad. If you're contemplating moving to Arizona and you're a little afraid of the summer heat, don't be that afraid of it, guys. The summer heat lasts for about 100 to 150 days. I know that sounds like a lot, but you do, believe it or not, get used to it. When you're in your car, you have your windows up with your AC on. God, I have an older car where the AC doesn't work. So I only use that for the winter and stuff. And for the past couple of years, I've been Ubering and stuff if I have to go somewhere in the summer because I need the air conditioning. But luckily, I got this second vehicle, as some of you know, and it feels like a luxury vehicle to me. It has heated seats and it has air conditioning and a moonroof or sunroof. So I really, really like it. I feel like I got blessed there. That's where it's good to stay in touch with your family. I was able to reach out to my great uncle Adolf, who once again I think is like 90 years old, my grandmother's little brother, and he was able to hook me up with a friend of the family who was getting rid of his car, and he was the perfect person to buy it from. It was just an elderly guy in a wheelchair that couldn't really drive himself anymore, so what the heck does he need with a vehicle just sitting there? And I was able to grab it. Again, when people are selling their old car, a lot of times they make it sound like they just upgraded and they want to get rid of this vehicle. But the reality is that vehicle might have a lot of issues and problems. And the last thing you want to do is spend good hard-earned money on a lemon, right? But if you can get lucky and you actually get a used car from a person that didn't run it into the ground, that might be something you can pull the trigger on. Always go to kellybluebook.com and check what the Blue Book value is. If it tells you the Blue Book value is $9,000, the last thing you want to do is offer your family friend 12 or 13 grand. What you want to do is you want to say, hey, Kelly Blue Book, on this vehicle here that you're selling is $9,000. It's in really great shape. Would you be open to taking 75 or 8? And if they say no, then you just let them know, I'm going to sleep on it. If you change your mind, let me know. And if I change my mind, I'll let you know. Boom, little negotiation 101. Remember, if people are that close to getting you to buy something, a lot of times you give them a little hour or two to think about it. They'll come around and they'll be willing to negotiate with you. But again, before you purchase that vehicle, you ask that person if you can give them, maybe I don't know what you would give them. Maybe you give them what I did. I gave him an envelope with $1,000 and I said, I want you to hold this in earnest. I'm going to go and take your vehicle down to my mechanic and get it checked out. And luckily he was a family friend. I don't know if I would recommend taking $1,000 from anybody and letting them take your car. But if they're a friend of the family like I was, you might be able to make such an agreement. And I was able to take the car down, get it checked out, and then immediately go back and purchase that vehicle. I think we've all in our life purchased vehicles, right? Most of the time you're going to go to a dealership. The reason I didn't want to go to a dealership this go round is I didn't want to buy a vehicle where whatever the price was, I was going to have to pay a bunch of title dock fees and a bunch of taxes. You buy a vehicle for, let's just say 8-9 grand at a dealership, more than likely you're going to walk out the door with something that's closer to 11 or 12 grand. I don't want to deal with that anger and rage. But at the same time, when you go to a dealership, you know, you're getting a car that hopefully they checked out. Hopefully they had their repair crew kind of look at it and fix any things that were glaring, right? When you buy it from a friend of the family or a stranger off the streets, you know, you're not really necessarily sure what you're buying unless you do have that, you know, mechanic, that, you know, an eye for mechanic stuff, which most people don't, right? So if you have a friend or family member that is a mechanic, take advantage of them, you know, give them 50 or 60 bucks to come down and check out a car before you buy it. Problem solved. And speaking of problem solved, try on some of your clothes that you couldn't fit into a month or two ago and see if they fit. Yay! Yay! All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Have a nice weekend. Be safe. Visit your family, visit your friends.